Hey, finally. How
I'm so
you
excited.
doing?
We made it.
I know. How's
I
it
seriously
going?
thought they were like literally intercepting this moment because it's just not happening. It was not happening. And look how many times we've had to kind of
I know.
reschedule. The energies have been trying to keep us apart, Mel. I can feel
I
it.
can
Two
tell
women are on a
too.
mission.
It's been nothing but problems on my end. Like you said about Facebook, I gave up on them a while ago, but Zoom has been, like this kind of thing for
Yeah.
a week now. So,
Well, I've been in Facebook jail today,
oh
yesterday.
no, what did you do? You
I
told the
think I put
truth?
something up the V. That's not a
Right.
V. If I
Right.
do that, I'll get like put in jail again, really. But be careful not to do this.
I know.
Yeah,
Can you
I've
believe it? Can you believe it? How they are censoring the truth? And only it's amazing. Did you
it
ever
is
think we'd be living
crazy.
like this?
If you put it in perspective, right? When you sit back, here we are in December 2020 now, and the conversations that we're having. I was just speaking to a very good friend just now, and he's really like he's followed you, he's followed all the big truthers, and he actually said she's one of the smartest, most intelligent lady out there, and you really are because you know your stuff, Mel, and I really thank you from the bottom of my heart, from a lot of people, because you sort of the way you piece things together so intelligently, because I'm a bit woohoo and spiritual and a bit one of those fairies that I just trust that I trust the plan. I
Right.
listen,
Right.
I
Yeah.
trust the plan.
Right. I mean,
So
I do too, but I also I started to, my real digging began when I started to realize like the puppet masters, who they are, where they are, what they're doing. And then as I go along with the research, then you realize over and over it's the same people. And you can't deny that it's the same people. So for me, then every time that I dig into something, I want to try to connect it. And you always can.
you can, and you do. And just because you're on my show for the first time, I know you're really big on Charlie Ward's show, but I really, and they love you. And when you see Charlie Ward's videos, and it's just like Mel K and Charlie Ward, like 3,000 billion views compared to everyone else, because you're very factual. Factual in the sense that it's. I don't mean this in any kind of disrespectful way, but it's like you use the logic and the sort of factual stuff. I mean, you've worked with Trump, and for my viewers who perhaps don't know Charlie Ward or just sort of aligned to myself, I'm on this mission to wake up the Asian community
Right.
that seem to be, and I say this respectfully all the time, that are a little bit resistant in speaking up, even if they may know what's going on. There's this fear factor. So while I get carried away with the spiritual babble, this friend of mine that's got a lot of respect for you said, Alpa, look, for someone like me, I need to see facts. I need to see things happen. So this is why we need people like you that bring all this logic together. And just for my viewers, you've had experience working with the big Donald himself, haven't you?
I have. Yeah, and that's it gets harder for me by the day because of what they've painted of him. I mean, and I find myself like just completely you feel like there's nothing you can do. I can't really look at his like comments on his tweets. The people have been so brainwashed to believe that this man is the opposite of what I know him to be. And they're touting this Joe Biden, who I think is a straight up criminal and has been for 40 years, and among other things. And then I look at Donald and I think, oh my God, like he's such a good. With my real feeling about him, because I worked at Mar-a-Lago and I worked for him, and I worked I answered his own phone. I was concierge, so I saw it all. And I mean, what they presented is such a lie. Besides, he got asked to run. Okay, he's did this really for his grandkids and his kids, and also he was very onto what was happening behind the scenes during Obama. And like he says, if what Obama didn't do what he did to our country and the world, he never would have ran. And that's absolutely true. He didn't do this for ego. His life got far worse.
I know, and his wealth got far worse as well, and he got vilified as the most hated
and then the
guy.
kids, like I went to NYU, and I had been in the city the same time as Ivanka when she was younger, and Jared and all of them. And Ivanka's a really, really good person. Like
She
you would
seems
never
it.
ever know in a million years if you didn't know that she was a Trump, that she's very humble. She's
Seems
raised
it.
beautifully. I got to know Ivana a little, who's still very on the scene. She's an amazing mother. Her and Donald are still very close. She stayed out of it. She has grandkids to worry about, and they're just good people. And it's been a disgrace what they've done to him. And and there's so many sheeple out there. I think fewer and fewer, but it's really bizarre how it seems like people in foreign countries see the real him and see
Yeah.
what he's done and given up. And in our country, we still have a faction that just keeps spreading lies. And
It's a fraction though, right? Because if we are on the 74 million win to Donald Trump,
right,
there are a lot of people behind the scenes that are supporting him, maybe not coming out and openly declaring their support.
right,
There's a silent majority, and that stands true. But
right,
it's worldwide. There's a
right.
worldwide phenomenon that's just sort of started supporting Trump.
Yeah,
The issue that I have, which is a lot within the Asian and in particular the Muslim community,
right.
that have this anti-Trump sentiment, and I can
So crazy. I don't get it. But also, same with the Jewish community. How the Jewish community in America cannot love this guy.
they do. A lot of people don't admit it though, and they run with the narrative of he's a buffoon and the orange man buffoon. But Trump represents so much more than what he's standing for, and everything that's happening this year, Mel, is we're having to work, decipher, discern what's going on. And I'm really enjoying the journey because it's testing me, my sort of personal resolve in everything, and opening me up to this window of, I don't even want to call it politics because it's a spiritual war that's going on. Mm-hmm. But I've never considered myself politically astute because I had zero interest in the politics here in the UK. And then ask me anything about what's going on in America, I wouldn't even know who's who. I never hated Trump in like the way the whole world did. I just felt that there is something a bit odd here, but I didn't really pay attention. So what we're talking about with the sheep, everyone jumping on the bandwagon with what the media is telling them, yeah. Once you sort of connect everything, it pieces together so simply for me. And that's because, it's been a sort of spiritual journey for me. And then suddenly in March, when I woke up, Mel, it all made sense. And I now know what's going on in America more than I know what's going on in the UK. So,
yeah, I mean, also the UK it's hard to say. You guys were infiltrated before we were, in my opinion, by this divisive, very, this whole diversity thing that they've used to divide us and everything. Like I saw it more in your country than I saw it here when it was happening here.
We've got the crown, we've got the royal family, we're governing so
also that mayor of London and all that, it was just so divisive. I thought everything that, but listen, I'm in New York City. You can't.
How are things there now?
What?
How are things there now at the moment?
Listen, I like I said, I went to college here. I lived here for years. I was in Hollywood for 15 years, came back to a city I didn't recognize. And that's in 2014 already. And then, what's gone on with the COVID. And let me tell you, Cuomo, our governor, is seriously out of control. Like this is insanity. I don't know if you've been to New York, but New York during Christmas is usually so amazing. Like all the movies and everything. It is dead.
The apocalypse.
Oh, it's horrible. Stores are closed down.
Dystopian.
Yeah, I mean, they're going out of their way to destroy New York. I mean, part of my belief is, as I believe all things lead back to the UN One World Order folk, I believe New York, the politicians are completely sold out to China and Bill Gates and Schmidt. Right when the COVID started, Cuomo comes out. Not only does he call it the European virus, which we're like, what?
Yeah.
And then he says that he's working with Eric Schmidt and Bill Gates to reimagine New York. Well, 9 months later, I'm assuming that reimagine New York meant to shut it down and get everyone out. And then, I mean, my feeling is they're trying to make this one of those AI smart cities.
Right. Really controlled, communist.
Right. Yeah. And you've seen it. And the worst part is like, none of it makes sense. So, 1% of the cases go back to restaurants, but all of half of my friends have had to close restaurants they've had for decades. And, it's really hard, but then their logic is to sit outside in the freezing cold if you want to go out of your house. It's just,
Yeah, I mean, but the whole thing's like the Benny Hill show, you know, the hokey
it
pokey,
is.
you know, you put your left foot in, left foot out. This
Right.
everything that they're doing everywhere in the world, these ridiculous restrictions, rules, it's pathetic. It really is. But surely this is to wake people up now. And now, 9 months in, Mel, I've kind of lost my patience with what I used to call so kindly and gently the sleepers. You know, I want to pay respect because I didn't know I was asleep. I didn't realize about how the whole world has been structured, how it's been controlled, what the cabal were, what the Illuminati was. I was in a slumber, Mel. I
Right.
was in a complete slumber in my, you know, cocooned world. But guess what? We're privy to information right at our fingertips, right? We can research, anything that we want to, but yet we've become lazy. We've gone so lazy because the echelons of these titles, such as here in the UK, the Financial Times, the Guardian,
Oh God.
the Independent, and the Times, they tell you, you know what, you morons, they're owned by the same people.
All of them.
There's 6 companies which then fall under the umbrella of the Bilderberg Group that own the media worldwide, and this Masonic order that owns everything. Yeah. And when you actually look at that, and then you look at the subsidiaries of all these companies, you look at how it's all married and intertwined. Come on.
Yeah. Also, all roads also lead to the Council on Foreign Relations, and I think yours, the International Foreign Affairs, they're one and the same. Yeah, I mean they're all connected, and right now they're all fighting the same battle against us because the the veils come off, and we see them, and I see them everywhere. You know, one of the big things that's going to be coming back and is starting is what I'm calling the Epstein boomerang. It's coming, it is. And the truth is, a lot of these media people are involved. And, at this point, the fake news that they're spreading and the fear porn and all of this is really about protecting themselves. They couldn't care less what they're saying. They don't want to go to prison. Part of them pushing that Joe Biden's getting in, which he's not, but part of them pushing that and pushing that Trump has to cede and all this is about them staying out of prison. So, if people understood, a big wake up call here was that ridiculous bill that they were going to pass of COVID relief with $700 billion going overseas to random countries for random things that are taxpayer money and then throwing us like crumbs, basically. And I think that was a wake up call. I also think if you saw that there was, I'm sure you saw something happened in Nashville, then they say that it was like a single shooter and it had nothing to do with anything. Meanwhile, that AT&T building is where they were doing the audits of the machine. So it's like another time for people that are sleeping to either willfully deny reality or look at these things and think how many coincidences, right?
So Mel, my question there is, because for me, I'm the eternal optimist. And when I first started this journey back in March, I listened to Charlie Freak's The Fall of the Cabal, not Fall of the Takedown of the Cabal with Mark Devlin. And for me, it just all fell into place in my head for somebody who knew nothing about anything. I sort of step by step, chronologically kind of did my own research on the back of that and followed Trump's footsteps from when he came into power.
Right.
And then Charlie is very good sort of deciphering of everything, like one by one, saying, well, he went to Saudi Arabia first, the biggest producer of adrenochrome, and he followed that whole journey. So one of the things that stuck in my head that this is all actually theatrical right now, and it's playing out. Because just imagine, what I found really fun is like listening to the stuff about the stock market with some of the ways that you've described it. But if this is, and things like that, so, we're watching this like a sort of like a Netflix season, like I wonder what season we're on right now. Season 12.
I think we're near the end.
Near the end.
I mean, near the end of the first book.
Oh, it's huge. So everything's been done. It's very clever. It's like the art of war, Sun Tzu's art of war. And we are just we don't know which way it's going to play out. So all these kind of like bombs that come out, we have to sort of take a backseat and saying, look, this is actually the White Hats in control, even though there's so much propaganda and fear mongering. So if everything's been taken control of, because the head of the Hydra was cut off well before he even started in Venice, right? So we're working backwards, right? And we're watching how it unfolds. So even this thing in Nashville it's literally so blatantly obvious to me that they're trying to really bomb blast not just the people of America, but people in the world to wake the F up, right?
Yeah.
This is the level of corruption that's been happening.
Right.
What my thing is at the moment is like, all these days of darkness and, the days of darkness and all of that, and JFK coming back. And, those are all sort of the question marks for me. Where is this going? How do you see all of this unfolding now from here? Because January the 6th is a big day. Everyone's kind of like, oh, wonder what's going to happen. 24th came and went. We are now hitting like very close to the inauguration day. Obviously Trump's won in a landslide. What are your thoughts now on how this is all going to start unfolding?
I think that in my opinion, where we are is that there's been a lot of things strategically put into place in terms of our legal system, and people are looking at the Supreme Court, but we've known that, like, people that have been following this and behind the scenes and the board, that John Roberts, among others, are very compromised. So they already are aware, they know, okay? And we have these players from the outside coming in that have clearly been involved behind the scenes the whole time. I think when General Flynn got pushed back into the mix, that was a big game changer for the whole world. There's still people out there that think he did something wrong. No.
I know.
What happened was he was running the NSA and he knew everything, and he found out about the trafficking of children and all of that. And they wanted to destroy him and put him under a gag order. So when he came back, but also, people are very upset about Bill Barr, but I think he did a lot more behind the scenes. And the two guys that are coming in to run the DOJ, one of them, Rosen, is the guy who did all the reports that led Trump to do the executive order against foreign interference in our elections, which I think will be the next phase of what we're going to see unfold, is that. But also the guy who's coming under him, Donahue, he already did the cases. He was in the New York district office, and he did Nexium, El Chapo case, and Huawei. So they already, right. So that guy both these people are ready. They know these guys have been working on these cases now for years, and the Nexium, Huawei, and El Chapo all connect back too. Mostly
that was huge. Well, it wasn't still portrayed in the media as in anything. It didn't get any coverage, really. I mean, who heard about the Nexium case?
It's unbelievable, because the craziest part is that the top of the Nexium case is the Bronfman family.
Absolutely.
Who's big who's giant cabal. They're in the game. So that was suppressed big time, the Nexium case. It's coming back though, because there's other people involved, including Hillary Clinton, in that case, and it's much bigger than it seems, because it's child trafficking aspect.
Connection with the Dalai Lama.
Right. Oh yeah. Well, they say that they pulled one over on him, but I don't know with the case. But it was just the levels of money and corruption, and then they all the islands and everything. So I think that at this point, my opinion is that they're set up. They finally put in. I'm a fan of Ezra Cohen-Watnick, who was Flynn's before this all happened. Right-hand man. Now he's running the D class, which everyone's
very important.
Very. So, I think that we're at a place where several things happen in a row, including something is very wrong with Boris Johnson. You know what I mean? Like, something is wrong. He looks like he's like a caged animal. You know what I mean? Like, he looks like he hasn't slept in months. What happened to him in the hospital? But I got to say, like, this Brexit, it should have happened already. But I mean, it's starting, like, it looks like Hungary and Poland and everyone's coming.
We might be going into tier 5. I just heard that today. I don't watch the news.
It doesn't make any sense. How could that happen so fast? And then
something's really happening here in the UK. But I mean, I think I'm an American half the time. So my heart is over there, and I'm just a shameful Brit that knows nothing.
We'll trade you for a bunch of people
who are watching this. If you're watching this, Donald, you know what I got, by the way, yesterday for a Christmas present from my lovely friend Aisha, a gold coin of Donald Trump. She goes, I love him. But in the UK, Bojo, I mean, what a joke of prime minister.
And there was so much hope. There was so much hope. I like Nigel Farage.
I love Nigel Farage. He's great.
And, you know, if it wasn't for him, I'll tell you right now, we wouldn't have known anything about it. But, you know, he kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And he's one of those people, he reminds me a bit of Donald Trump, where it's like, no matter what you do to Nigel Farage, he comes back and gets in there. And
did you see that speech he had with him?
yes. And now I'm looking at him to kind of figure out what's going on over there.
Nigel Farage for Prime Minister of the UK.
I wish. I also think that he has a good relationship with Trump. And I think that a lot of the international players do have a good relationship with Trump. And, you know, the one thing that I think is going to break, and it's going to be hard, and people like us, especially you, because you're very spiritual, are going to have to, they're going to have to release the stuff about the child trafficking.
Yeah, let's talk about that, Mel, because this is the main reason. I mean, I'm sure you know, but the viewers know, but this main reason why we're all here talking about this, with, you know, the guts that we need. Like, we're all sort of embodying Trump's attributes in a way, with having guts, having the courage to speak about someone who's hated worldwide, but we are aligning with him. Why? Because we're batshit crazy? No. When we all discovered the stuff, this is for all my friends that watching this, that read The Guardian and that watch read the Financial Times and all these papers that keep telling me that Trump's an idiot and I've gone batshit crazy and to the dark side and saying, oh, Alpa, is everyone a paedophile in all these institutions? Mel, let's talk about this. Everything is connected to the children. Yeah. And we've got the D class. And why we're sat here and privy to this information that we know. Why are we privy to that information? Because things have been trickled like into the mainstream media, not mainstream media, in social media.
Right.
And I believe that the white hats have been like releasing breadcrumbing information, and then therefore, like the digital soldiers, like Flynn says, have been discerning and deciphering, like yourself, like myself, and actually saying, hang on a minute. Holy crap, is this the severity of what's been happening with kids?
Yes, it is. And you know, and then the next level is the organ trafficking. The thing is that child trafficking, sex trafficking, organ trafficking has taken over for oil as the most lucrative business in the world, as sad as it sounds. And this does connect everyone from China, the Rothschilds, all those islands, Epstein. Epstein was the weak link for them because he's not one of their bloodline families and he is somewhat Satan, and they picked the wrong guy. And I firmly believe that he's still here with us. Yeah, 100% in my mind, but I can't say that for sure. I just believe that.
Look at the shit he's got on everyone.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. But there's a reason that they have all the footage from Epstein Island, all the footage from the New York mansion. We don't even know about the baby making stuff and the experiments that went on in his secluded New Mexico ranch. And now we have Peter Nygard arrested, who's been doing the same stuff. And Jean-Luc Brunel's been a scumbag since the 80s and has gotten away with it. Ghislaine Maxwell's in jail. Listen, this is all going to come out now because they've gaslighted, even with their Netflix show. I have a lot of issues with Netflix, but even with their Netflix show, they've gaslighted it to look like it's teenage girls like that and these old men. That's not even close to what it's about. And you know, the adrenochrome side is very scary, but having known some people, a lot of people unfortunately that were on the flight logs personally from LA, it's very real, it's scary, and it's disgusting, but I believe that we're going to see it. They've been sitting on all this stuff. Also the Hunter laptop, terrible child stuff. Wiener laptop, and they have all this.
Hunter's laptop showed a lot about Malalia, what's her name? Obama's daughter.
Oh yes,
and him, Hunter. Malia, sorry.
Know if that is Obama's daughter, but
there was
maybe everything about Obama was created. He's a Manchurian candidate, you know, and even Kissinger. When I saw Kissinger get kicked out of the Pentagon program, I was like, oh, that's a shot across the bow, because he's real deep state. He's a big part of everything that's been going on, all these unnecessary wars that just make them money and kill humans and devastate nations, is all the same guys orchestrating it. So, you know, but the whole world can get together on the child trafficking and the child. Listen, I mean, what happened in Haiti? People still have no idea. The Haitian people, you know, it's horrendous, but also
it's horrendous.
All roads lead back to the Clintons.
This is it. And just while you've mentioned Haiti, think about how the uproar and the outrage when George Floyd died, because it was all in the name of Black Lives Matter. What about the children that died in Haiti? What about the black slaves that get sold in Libya? What
Oh my
about that?
God. It's
Why were we, not when I say we, in all countries, because there were loads of Black Lives Matter protests over this man, a meth head who's got
right,
50 convictions of beating up his girlfriend and all sorts of other criminal
right.
acts, and we're building memorials over him?
Yeah,
And people are fighting that you haven't put a black square in the name of George Floyd and you were racist. Look at the programming and how deep
so
this
bad.
goes.
And then, like you said before about like the Bilderberg Davos Council of Foreign Relations members, they're all the media too. And they portrayed this. Look at our sports teams are done. Our schools, it's infiltrated our schools, all of that. It turns out though that the George Floyd, if you look at it and think about it and look at his past and, why did his family go straight to the UN? Like, to me, this was a psyop, so they go straight to the UN. The UN then says that America is racist. It's not. This is not true. It's totally a farce. Most people don't know because of how it's portrayed that America is still 70% white, 13% black. And as far as I know, most of my friends that are black, don't agree with any of this. And instead of, when you say Black Lives Matter, they're making that guy so important. I guess his family got $14 million raised for them. We got
every celebrity.
Yeah, we got all the corporations like doing things for this and all of that. Well, there's a lot more white men killed by cops every year simply because there's a lot more white men. And so it's just, it's totally irrational. And it was created to foster hate while we were going through COVID, to like as a decimation, the color revolution backed by Soros and them, but
victimization of black people.
Right, but here's the thing: it's not helping black people.
No.
Instead, they plan these. Let me tell you, downtown in New York, when they found those pallets of bricks, they found them all over in all these cities, and they all tie back basically to Soros and Gates's foundations and stuff. But they were in the opportunity zones that were helping black people. So it was so opposite of what I feel terrible because they really used the black community. But over years, I say that a lot of this goes straight back to Obama and Eric Holder from the Ferguson thing. And then, everything that happened from there, even Trayvon Martin, every time that one of these things happens, it seems to have been already planned. I'm not saying that they already planned, that it was fake or that they planned it. Of course, they didn't plan Trayvon Martin, or some of the other things, but they planned to, as soon as an event happened, jump on it and use it. The Floyd thing looks very suspicious. It doesn't look.
I think it's planned
at all.
I definitely think it was planned.
Yeah, me too. And the other thing, that they knew each other. Why wasn't he like, dude, what are you doing? They didn't act like they knew each other. Yeah. But there's a million things like that. But the other thing is that it's hurting the black communities. And it's such a psyop to me in terms of Black Lives Matter. But look at Chicago, Chicago's a war zone, and then defund the police. People don't understand. Defund the police is to cede our sovereignty of America to the UN. They want their UN people there. I mean, and then you look at like the leaders of this, like Obama, LeBron James, who's a avowed Satanist as Obama, I believe, and Holder and all them, Loretta Lynch, they set this up over years, but they also believed Hillary was going to win. So imagine what the goal was if Hillary won.
We would have been, honestly, we would be in FEMA camps right now.
Oh my God, for sure.
Yeah,
no joke. And the COVID, I think Trump and them knew it was coming. And I don't, and did what they could prior. But also the odd thing is that Wuhan lab, which is, if you trace it back, is owned by the Soros Foundation. That is also where they make synthetic adrenochrome. So if you look at
the money transfer,
still uses the children, it's just that they take it and make it in the lab instead of, what they do on Epstein Island and the horror. So to me, the whole psyop, I see our black community waking up and being like, they're not helping black people.
No, it's a
None of their
victimization of
money.
Black people.
Right.
It's so sad. And it's the pseudo liberalism that's actually undercover Marxism.
Right.
It is. And if you look at the roots of all of this, I spoke about this with one of my guests in my very first shows. And, you know, he goes very deep into all the secret societies and the Boule societies and all sort of like the different levels of the cabal, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's a real mind, you know,
well, people
it's
don't
mind-boggling.
But it's real, and it's
of
evil.
course.
And I think people don't want to believe in evil. They want to believe that it doesn't exist. And if we haven't seen it this whole year, this whole thing is a crime against humanity, the whole COVID thing, you know. And but I do know one thing good is behind the scenes, without people really paying attention, of course, Pompeo did get together with other world leaders, and they have a Nuremberg type crimes against humanity tribunal that is going to be public.
Yeah, it should, and it has to.
Right. And it's going to be very similar to the Nuremberg trials, except for this time they're not going to sneak out all the Nazi scientists to America, because that's really what happened. Nothing stopped. Mengele, all them, they got taken out and brought to America and South America in the, you know, under the guise of, well, the Nuremberg trials are going on. Now we question if those were even the real guys, you know. And so this is our last stand against the Nazis, and before that against the Romans. They're the same, you know, people and bloodlines and all that. And like I said, they've messed up dealing with Epstein, because at the end of the day, he has loyalty to no one, and that's going to be bad. And in terms of the child trafficking and everything, you know, the Clinton Foundation is very, very, very involved. But also so is China, you know, and all these shipping routes. And you wonder about the islands. You see that Epstein had an island with those temples and stuff, but so does Branson. So does
Richard Branson. I mean, all the stuff about him and Frazzle Drip is disgusting. It's disgusting. And look at how
I firmly believe it's real.
It is. And look how they've masked all these people in the big corporations and made them into sort of heroes of the business world, the Zuckerbergs, Bezos, Branson, and actually sort of that when you think about the things that they've done and what we've researched, it's horrific, Mel. But we have actually idolized, well, society has like looked up to these figures as, you know, as role models, and look at what we're role modeling against: demons,
right? True demons. Demons also that look at humanity, they pretend through their philanthropies and foundations that they're helping humanity. That's not true. They believe that there's too many of us. That's, you know, and their whole goal is to, you know, have less than 500 million people on the planet so that they can rule it from their one world order. And people, it's so real that, and all roads for me lead right back to the UN and that the Rockefeller family and the Rothschild banking cabal. But
Clinton is the Rothschilds, I think, right?
What?
Bill Clinton's bloodline.
Oh yeah, right. Well, you know what they do is they have mistresses and stuff, and they impregnate them, these bloodline people, and then they take the child and put it with somebody so that they don't trace them back. So yeah, he's a Rockefeller. So is Bill Gates.
Rockefeller or Rothschilds?
No, I think Bill Gates and Clinton Rockefeller. But you know, we'll find out, I guess. But the truth is that it has been a straight to the top. So I don't know if you saw, well, you just talked about something interesting. I had done a show with Kirsten. I used to do shows with, I don't anymore, but I had done some with her, and I did it on the Good Club about 8 months ago. And the Good Club, what you're talking about right now, is that these unelected billionaires got together in 2010, and they called themselves the Good Group or the Good Club, which, you know,
the world.
Think about it, it's inverted. Everything they say and do is the opposite. But basically it was Oprah, Bloomberg, Soros, Gates, Bronfman, Branson, you know, all the same, Bezos, Zuckerberg, all these people. And they made basically they decided that they had to start focusing on depopulating the planet and changing society and getting ready to go to the one world government, because, you know, those sheeple we can't control them. There's too many of them. And that started, I believe that was in 2006. And if you look at what's happened since, and if you've seen that diagram of the 16-year plan, had Hillary Clinton won, we would right now be, all of our countries would be ruled by, different factions. What they wanted in that was 10 nation states. So you would be joined over there with, as one nation state. You'd have no sovereignty. Like it would all be, and it was supposed to be Ireland, Scotland, I think Wales, and the UK. But I think they were going to make it even bigger than that. Here, it was going to be one North American nation state. So forget Canada, Mexico, and America having their sovereignty. And all of this goes back to control. When they talk about sustainable Agenda 2030, Agenda 21, this is about reducing the population to the point that we have nothing. Everything we have to get from the government. And this government would be like out of Kazakhstan or China, run by the UN type. That's what the UN was. The UN was put in America as the foundation for the one world government infiltrating all of our countries. And then what happened about 10 years ago is that the CCP started taking over all the high levels at the UN. So now we have the watchdogs of the world being run by a corrupt, communist, anti-human, foundation. And then under that, at the UN, and everyone can look this up, it is absolutely true, that their spiritual foundation is called the Lucis Trust, which used to be called the Lucifer Trust. And it is.
Look at the names, they're just so obvious.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they like that. They like to tell you.
Yeah.
These kooks.
And we've been so desensitized to it all.
Yeah, but also, like you said, the whole point of the Good Club is the article came out, everyone thought, and then next thing you know, Common Core becomes a big thing. And Bill Gates is such a hero for giving out computers to all the kids. But giving out the computers to the kids also came with a caveat to do Common Core. Common Core is basically teaching people to regurgitate information. It doesn't teach kids to use logic, reason, it's
their spiritual compass.
Right, none. Well, the whole thing about the Lucis Trust that runs the UN, it's LUCIS TRUST. Anyone that's watching this, you will not believe it, but it is the spiritual foundation of the UN, and it is anti-God, anti-family, pro alternative lifestyles, pro using the media propaganda to force people towards a one world order. And basically at the very bottom, it says that in order to function in their new world order, you have to give your life to Satan, Lucifer. And
so let's think about it, and everyone watching, think about the reaction that they're having within their own families at grassroots level. You mentioned Trump, that it's not even, there's no logic, there's no rationale, it's just a knee-jerk reaction to really hate the guy when they're just listening to one side. So this is what they've done. They've been so successful in brainwashing, indoctrinating in every single area of our lives.
Right.
The psychological warfare. So where we look batshit crazy to them, and it's true, when I do look batshit crazy to my whole family, they just think I've gone nuts, right? And friends that I've known for years, because they're so indoctrinated with their titles of what they think that gives them this superiority. And I say this in every show, but I have to drum it in. Just because you went to Harvard, just because you went to Oxford, just because you went to LSE or UCL here or King's, that condescending arrogance of yours is gonna fall because you're not right. Actually, Harvard, there was an article in the Financial Times about a professor being funded by what was it? I can't remember. Epstein funded Harvard quite heavily,
Epstein, Gates, Harvard, MIT, Stanford, they're infiltrated. Not to mention the Chinese infiltration.
Yes.
And but no, Harvard and MIT are very involved in the Epstein case. And Epstein's not the only one. We're going to find that this is going to unfold, that Nygaard, Bill Gates, all of them, and they're really big on transhumanism. But what is transhumanism? It's the same thing that the Nazis wanted, a superior race of people. They don't believe. That's what a lot of that was about. And, Lieber, the guy that got arrested from Harvard that connected to Epstein, he's the professor, the biology guy. He was working at the Wuhan lab off the books for like 50 grand a month, the one that created COVID. Also, I don't know if you guys
follow the money, the 3.4 million that Fauci sent to the Wuhan lab. Why?
Right. Right, right. And Obama visited that lab with
Yeah.
Gates and Fauci. So, this was all planned. I'm telling you, God gave us Trump because had Hillary won, they would have killed 20 million people. They would have.
Yeah.
Look at what these governors did in New York. They had the Javits Center, they had the boat, they had they purposely put people in these. Everyone knows that if an elderly person in hospice gets pneumonia, game over. And they did that on purpose to up the
Absolutely.
numbers,
Yeah.
to scare us. Like,
Well, they
I
did that
don't know
with the
what's going on
ventilators.
in England, but it makes no sense that it's isolated in London and you guys are locked down on this ridiculous. It's just like California. What is going on?
Yeah, this is the bit that I don't understand, and because I've not really focused on what's going on in the UK, I'm just like Trump fanatic at the moment, because I believe that everything that's happening there, because all countries are working with Trump. I mean,
Right,
I think because of all the declassification of information, most countries have, if not all, capitulated to Trump, and this is all
Right.
playing out, right?
Right.
So
But the
we
biggest
just
part is they all know about the trafficking. That's
well,
what
of
brought them
course.
together. Yeah.
It's the biggest, like you said, it's bigger than oil. Let's put that in perspective, folks. I've been screaming about this child trafficking. Now my friends are mocking me, saying that, oh, everyone's a pedo, yeah? Alpa's just after like one pedo at a time. Hello? I can't believe you're even joking about this. It's horrific. It's
Also,
horrific.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so
that
horrific.
pedophilia stuff too. It's not just pedophilia. That's not.
It's not.
Yes, a lot of these people are pedophiles, a lot, but it's also about their spiritual belief that child sacrifice gives them some kind of spiritual energy, and that and then it keeps them younger, and it's built into their their satanic Luciferian Aleister Crowley religion, and that's the worst part, and it's been going on all this time. But these demons at the top, I call them like the 3,000 people probably against 8-9 billion, but they have all the money and they control all the media, and they control, they're also embedded in big tech, they're embedded in big pharma, they're embedded in military. So they've been, what Trump has been able to accomplish behind the scenes in 3.5 years.
It's phenomenal. And why have we got the exposure of child sex trafficking so much more in the last 3 years? Because it was all very dormant before. It was happening. And what hurts, it really hurts, and I'm sure this is the same for you, it really hurts my soul that people are rejecting this or calling it a conspiracy theory. It hurts. Why would people or your loved ones get up one morning and start screaming about child sex trafficking to the extent of the way it is with Pizzagate, with all these like celebrities that have been incriminated? Of course, we're not going around discrediting people for just any old reason because we're like loonies. We're respectable people. We have, I don't definitely want to defame anyone for just any old reason, Mel, but come on, why are we doing this? People need to put that in perspective. And why has it come out so much in these last 4 years? One of the cases that really hurt my soul was, I think, the Ella and Gabrielle one in Hampstead.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And
don't forget, Trump shared that once.
Yeah.
And then it was taken down. And also
the brother and sister, right? I was in Hampstead today. I kid you not, I took my little one today, Kenzo. Kenzo wasn't very well over the last 2 days, so I just took him to this like new park, and just a change of scenery for him. And I took him to Hampstead, and I started feeling really, really uncomfortable. You know the whole story with that, right?
Yeah, I do. I know all of it. And I'm sad to say, I look up the kids sometimes, and I see that the mom is still being blamed, and the dad apparently has the control, and you see them now and they look vacant. If you've seen them in anything lately, I found an interview that isn't that old, and you can tell, like, I mean, what is
the way they were talking about everything in their teachers, the way what mama and papa do, we dance around the skulls.
These kids were not lying. I mean, impossible.
That would be a really sick thing to train them to do, for them It's just the
No,
whole
I've
thing.
seen the mother. I mean, but you know what? This isn't, we had the McMartin school thing here, and also we had the finders and all this stuff. People don't want to look at it. They don't want to look at it. And, you know, it's so much bigger because for them, it's part of their religion. So all you have to do is look through the John Podesta emails, look into Marina Abramovich, and then look around at these people are all involved. And the worst part is, I believe once you're in that cult, you can't get
It's a
out.
big club, and it's interesting, the Podestas and the link to Madeleine McCann's case.
I know.
I'm sorry.
They still ignore that, you know?
Yeah, well, the drawings, the sketches look like Ghislaine Maxwell as the
Yeah.
lady and the two Podesta brothers.
Right.
Well,
And Freud, who's their pal, has a mansion right there, right near there, who's definitely in that crew. I
Yeah.
mean, the Podesta's artwork alone should be enough, you know?
but people are not waking up to that, Mel, and that is what is the biggest heartache, that you are so caught up in the COVID narrative and getting get a vaccine done. Go on, just go and get it done. That's how I feel like.
Think about it though, that is the game they're playing. Look here, not there. Well, I think Trump and the White Hats have been using it. I have high hopes for this Chris Miller that came in, because you have to understand what's come out here, and I'm sure there too, is our CIA was created by basically Dulles, but then George H.W. Bush, against us, we the people. And they've been all these years, everything that has happened, basically, that has been, you know, terrible for our country, you can basically trace back to our own CIA, similar to the Mossad, and I think MI5 and 6. They're doing operations, but a lot of these operations are on our dime and just hurting the world and causing friction. And, you know, people should be thrilled about the Abrahamic Accords. You know, we've been told as Muslims, Jews, and Christians that we're all, you know, hate each other, and we're all cousins. What are we talking about? But this is part of the psyop, and it's been fed and fed and fed. And this should be a great thing for all Abrahamic religions. And the media doesn't even cover it. Trump wasn't even allowed to talk about it in the debates, you know. And it's like, to me, that's so amazing. Nobody ever imagined that could happen. And it just shows you that this is a war on God. This is a big war on God. And, you know, it's against God to kill children and blood. Like, you know, they do these ceremonies, but they've been going on for a long time. And the truth is, I believe everyone, basically, except for maybe 10 or 12 people in our government, House and Senate, are compromised completely and blackmailed. I mean, the Epstein thing was a blackmail operation. He's apparently got blackmail on everyone. But you know who else was a CIA blackmail operation? Hugh Hefner. You know?
Wow. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so I knew that.
He had tunnels under his.
Yeah, they dug him up a year ago. Don't think they don't have everything on everyone. The hard part is watching them going and still going about tweeting or whatever, and knowing in my heart, like, who was there. You know, there's special satanic weekends, and they have the Rachel Chandler, wherever she is, her pictures have a timestamp on them. And if you were into the board, you realize that timestamp in that weekend is a satanic ritual weekend. So whoever was on that island on that weekend, whether they participated in rape, torture, or torture of children, or adrenochrome, or bloodletting, or murder, whatever, even if they didn't participate, they're guilty because they were there. So to see these people walking around like you know, yelling about Trump is just so mind-blowing to me. And the other thing, you know, how I worked for him, he's one of the best fathers I've ever seen. Like, his family loves him. It's not a show. It's not.
I love him. I can imagine.
I know, but it's not a show. He's such a good father. Ivana, like I said, is still totally involved. Such a good mother. You know, people say he's not a man of God. Are you kidding? He went to Bethesda by the Sea. My parents have been in Palm Beach for 30 years. For as long as my parents have been there, and you know, their holidays, and like I told you, he's so good to employees. Nobody ever quits working for Trump. So, and then the other thing I always say is, in my 15 years in Hollywood, if Trump, I went to like the Oscars, Emmys, Golden Globe. If Trump showed up, it was a big deal. Everyone was excited and wanted to meet him. You know, he had a #1 show, top 5 show for 14 years on TV. The minute he becomes president, all hell breaks loose and he's a demon. It makes no sense. When people say he's dumb, I'm like, okay, next to Jesus, he's the most well-known name in the world before.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. He was in every single rap song, every single pop song.
Yeah. How much did Jay-Z and all them love him prior?
Yeah.
Everyone
living the dream like Donald Trump. I mean, I'm no rap star, but I mean, I can try. He was in.
I'm pretty sure that the new rap star, especially the Cardi B's and of the world, are created, and they're completely, owned and manipulated to sell the trash.
Trash city, honestly.
And you know what it is? It's a war on the children.
Absolutely.
War on the children. And even you go back to Britney Spears, who's an MK Ultra victim, 100%, and also a child, the whole thing that went on in the 90s, 80s and 90s with child stars.
Justin Bieber.
It's so sad. It's so sad. Even before that, the original Rat Pack, all them.
All the Nickelodeon stars.
Nickelodeon and Disney. Yeah.
Disney, yeah. Well, again, it goes back to ownership of the media, media fraternity worldwide, not just Hollywood. I think Bollywood's the same. Yeah,
well, Hollywood's owned by the same people.
Yeah.
Except for at this point, I noticed. Don't forget, we had a reckoning, Black Lives Matter, LGBT thing in Hollywood about 10, 15 years ago. Michael Ovitz called it out as the gay mafia and whatever, 15 years ago. And we went through this whole diversity thing there where, a lot of especially my white male friends who'd won Emmys and Oscars and everything suddenly couldn't get jobs because of their skin color, not because of their talent, or because they wanted a lesbian woman being the director. This happened. Again, when the George Floyd thing happened, it's like it never happened. And now again, Hollywood's so racist and women aren't treated right. Let me tell you something, that this whole women thing is absolutely a farce. It's a farce.
The Me Too movement, right?
Yeah, because the girls that are saying Me Too aren't the victims. The victims are the people that you will never know, the nameless, faceless actresses that were, used and abused and discarded with promises and ended up being like strippers and drug addicts or running from Hollywood and getting out of there, thank God. But there's thousands of women that are victims. But then the ones that came up, they all pretty much happen to be CIA clients. But, we're talking about Alyssa Milano and Deborah Messing and Chelsea Handler, whom I worked for, and all these people. They're not victims of Me Too. The only one that I know personally that is Rose McGowan in that group. But she bailed right away when she saw that they were hijacking it. But what that became was a psyop also to hide the truth. And they, in Hollywood, a lot of roads do lead back to that one agency. And it's scary, but it's bigger powers than that. Like you said, it's the Bilderberg, Davos, same people. And the sooner we get rid of the UN and start an actual international movement, because what I've been saying to Charlie a lot is, their whole goal was a one world order where they controlled all the people from their perch, and we all were just given a universal income. We had to count on them for, food. Like the whole war on farmers is about controlling our food supply so they can throw us into famine or control us. And then all of that. But it's backfiring because of people like us and our group. And we're so lucky that we connected with all like-minded, God-focused, spiritual people in this group. I mean, in these researchers groups, because there are some that aren't, that I wouldn't want to connect with. But all the people that we're spreading the message together with, I think, first of all, every country should put their people first. So there's plenty of money. The money's being hoarded. If the money is extracted from these people, I'm telling you that they are sitting on quadrillions of dollars, the Rothschild cabal, banking, central bankers, that they have been hoarding their greed and their excess that could have every country in the world be self-sufficient with thriving farms, thriving infrastructure, thriving what's it called? Transportation, big tourist abilities and all that. And they've been hoarding it and then letting countries struggle and survive. And like us, we're total debt slaves in America. And
Yep.
the truth of the matter
Happy.
is, if that money, as I believe it will be seized, and I think a lot's been seized. So when people get all up in arms about debt, I think, oh, okay, I think you didn't read the executive orders already.
Yeah.
But you know, if money is just distributed properly and fairly with the amount that they have, every country could thrive, and then every
Absolutely.
country could be their country first, and then it would be more like when you're traveling around the world, it's more like when you meet people from a foreign country, it's like, welcome to our country, here's
Country.
our
Yeah.
culture,
Yeah.
rather than trying to homogenize everything, take God out of the world, get rid of anything that's special
about the one.
every
Yeah.
country. Give the countries back their culture, their language, their borders. You know, give the countries back the money that has been stolen and taken by these people and the taxpayer, to rebuild, to grow farms, to ingenuity, to support entrepreneurial endeavors in every country. If that could happen, then that's the globalism that we all believed they were talking about. When
there's been a revolution in India about
right.
the farmers. You heard about the
Yeah.
biggest farmers revolution in India. I mean, I didn't follow the story much. I just kept sort of my eye on it and skimmed the surface. But, you know, we're going on about this centralized banking. How many people know about the Federal Reserve?
And most people don't. You know, it's a private bank. It's a private bank owned by the City of London, which has nothing to do with the City of London. The City of London
has been taken over now.
I know. Thank God. And then yesterday I saw the Vatican, I think, is done, because the Vatican Bank, I think, was raided, audited, and they seized that too. And also Washington, D.C. is a corporation. And most Americans don't know that either, that the
Triangle.
Columbia.
London.
Right.
Washington.
So I think they've all been see, I think they used the COVID to
sweep everything up.
Them. Yeah. And so when everything is back, everything unfolds. What I think is going to happen is the exact opposite. This is why I always say God wins. The exact opposite of their dreams for the future will be our future, being actually all citizens of humanity again, because all the wars and propaganda has all been manufactured for this one group of people, to keep us slaves, you know, literal slaves, but be it to most countries, we're debt slaves. You know, and it's all been a farce. The Federal Reserve is a private bank owned by the Rothschilds, basically headquartered out of Switzerland, and they run all central banks. Well, any country with a central bank, you look at the history of how it got there, and it was because it was war torn by them, usually them paying for both sides, and then they bring in the central bank, they give loans under the guise of humanitarian, just like Agenda 21 and 2030, or under the guise of sustainability, which is a very vague word, and for who, you know, for them. You know? And then they go in, they give loans because they're such good people, right? And then the second that the people take the loans, they own them. They take all their resources, gold, oil. They put the people into slave labor all over look at Africa. This never should have happened in Africa. Africa could be all over thriving, and it
and a developing country.
Right. Well, right now, part of it is also, look at China. You're allowed to have one child. Forced abortions are normal. If you have a daughter first, you can have a son. That's it. But forced abortions. Well, all the abortion laws in America that people are cheering on for, like, you can get an abortion in 9 months. No, but these demons are putting this into law.
Kamala Harris.
Oh my God, Cuomo cheering, a Catholic, supposedly. His father's rolling over in his grave. But I got to tell you that this is their whole depopulation thing is the goal. Well, I think it's boomeranging, and because of people like us. Because, you know, people say, how do you speak out like that? And I say, if I do the research and I know it's facts, then for me to share the facts and truth are the only shot we got to band together, because that's like our superpower against these people.
Absolutely.
Their power is lies and truth and this inversion. Everything they say is good. Like, you know, we wouldn't even know about Obama if it wasn't for Oprah. Well, Oprah or John of God. How about Oprah? Like, you know, then you start to look at how much she also pushed Bill Gates, you know what I mean? And now and then you look at this is how I know that it's got to be a
all the people they hang around with. It's a club. It's a
all the same. You know, also for your, you know, Evelyn and Linda Rothschild, they can be
Yeah.
linked to almost everything. The Bronfmans, so the Rothschilds are in England, Bronfmans
Yeah,
in
huge.
Canada. You know, here
The
we
royal
have
family.
right. So they have their claws in everywhere, and the cost it's been on humanity is coming due. You know,
What are your thoughts now, going back to Hollywood and this world of celebrity and all these people that are in the club, and even like the politicians, celebrity, like you've got people playing roles, like look
right,
at Hancock here in the UK, Bojo. It's all very ambiguous because we're trying to
right.
decipher how this is playing out. How much of the control have the white hats got with these people? Is it just a case of they're actors now, they're under house arrest, they're playing their role? Trump's got everything under control, which is what I believe. You know, this has not been a sting operation for like 3-4 years to get to where they are. It goes back to the
Yeah, it's been since JFK was murdered.
20 years, and apparently even before there've been
Yeah.
several attempts to, overthrow this cabal, and it's not worked. But what are your thoughts now? How is this going to be playing out in the sort of mainstream? You've got all the celebrities now, like Oprah.
Well, they've kind of disappeared, you know, other than seeing like a tweet here or there, or, you know, on page 6 or in the trades, which all those pictures can be old. But I've noticed over the last week, the usual suspects in the celebrity occult, you know, OTO, or, you know, the Masons or whatever, or the Church of Satan followers, Scientologists.
She's from the Masonic order.
Oh, yeah.
All of them.
Oh, yeah. But it's a manipulated kind, and but I've noticed that a lot of them aren't loud right now, so I'm thinking that that's a good sign.
Yeah. Tom
my-
Hanks went a long time ago. We know that.
Yeah.
He was part of the horrible MS-13.
Yeah.
The worst cult of its kind. Do you know who I mean, right? Those people with the tattoos all over their
I
face.
know them. Yeah.
The biggest distributor of adrenochrome in Hollywood.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
what was the point of the wall? People misunderstand what the wall was about. The wall was about stopping that, you know, more than anything else, stopping the human trafficking and MS-13 from coming across. But it turns
out Trump's such a racist. He's such a bigotrist. Shut up.
It's
sorry.
If you only knew. Also, the club that I worked at for him in Palm Beach, Mar-a-Lago, was the first club down there to allow blacks or Jews. You know, that's true. So for them to say that, I think, oh my God, this is so ridiculous. When I was there, he used to always have over that big Don King, the big boxing guy, and you know, it's like so crazy. The whole thing made up about him is insane. Muhammad Ali, you know, like it's so stupid.
He's hilarious. He's so funny. He says just like, I mean, like this guy's a G. Like seriously, he is a G. You know, he's like, come on, spit it out. He's speaking to like people, journalists and stuff, and she's like getting all flustered and tongue-tied.
Right.
Come on, you can do it.
Well, it's going to be Trump Unleashed 2.0 after he gets sworn in again.
But think about it. Think about the people he deals with. Yeah. Imagine dealing with these psychopathic adversaries, which what I say all the time on a global arena, and having do you remember him in Davos? He pushes past everyone and like he just does that and says like, I'm the boss.
Also, in my mind, I think all the time, how are the journalists allowed in the White House? Well, I think that's also been keep these awful journalists, these disrespectful, rude, hateful journalists that spin
credibility of journalism.
So we watch them. Terrible. It's terrible. And, you know, I actually got an undergrad degree in journalism. So to me, I look at it and I think, God, it would be such an honor, no matter who's the president, to be in White House press conferences. And these people treat it like it's Hunger Games. You know, it's so disgusting. If Trump,
demons.
Yeah, that's why I say about Trump, like, imagine the patience. No matter what, like they say, oh, Trump raised that, but he knows everything, you know. And you know, my biggest thing is I watch Flynn. If Flynn feels,
I love Flynn.
I know, and look at what they did to him. My God. And you know, people don't realize he was under a gag order, so he had to stay behind the scenes. But I have a feeling he's been planning a lot of it. And I think we're in good shape. I do. See, I don't think he needs to call. I think they violated the executive order and there's plenty of evidence. So I don't see how this charade is continuing at all. There's got to be a point, and obviously,
Which executive order? The one of 2018, yeah, September.
yeah, the 828 with
Yeah.
foreign election
Foreign interference, yeah.
and
How brilliant was that, Mel?
What?
How brilliant was that foreign
I know.
interference?
Well, that's what I'm saying. The guy that's coming in, Rosen, underneath AG Barr, that executive order was based off of a report he wrote. So that guy is already way ahead of it. That's what I'm saying about the two guys coming into the DOJ. I really think Barr was there to clean it out. He got rid of 6,000, gang members, found tons of children. Like, he wasn't doing nothing. And Jeff Sessions, I believe, will re-enter the picture at some point soon. And he's been playing a role because he's the one who did the executive order on human and child trafficking.
Yeah.
And, and the executive order, though, which people might not know, which when they're talking about that they're going to do all the arrests at once, it says in there that if an American citizen works with a foreign country to manipulate our elections, they lose their citizenship rights.
Assets, yeah.
Right, but they also lose the right to, so they become enemy combatants. So they no longer have the amazing amount of rights that criminals usually have in America. They're taken away as enemy combatants, which was established firmly during the Kavanaugh hearing. And if you look at some of these things, what they did to Amy Coney Barrett, who what could be,
or about Amy, by the way.
Yeah.
And her that Biden connection.
Yeah. And
Biden's daughter.
Right. Bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah. Crazy.
I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. People keep saying I'm crazy about this. I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Biden is arrested before we get too much further in.
Yeah, I have that feeling.
Also, the Ukraine drop that we've known the whole time, but the Ukraine, he's named as a criminal in a case that he's clearly guilty in the Ukraine. So what? So they want to put him in there and then push him out, put a Kamala, who's total deep state, totally owned, Soros owned, into there, and then usher in the UN. No thanks, not going to happen. No. Well, this has been super fun. We got to do this more often.
Yeah, we're going to do it once a week. Just before we go, I wanted to ask about Kamala. Just slipped my mind now. We've talked about so many things. The executive order. Yeah, let's do one next week. I think you'll be really received very well.
Oh, I'd love to. This is fun. It's fun to talk to like a like-minded woman.
There's 1 billion people in India, and I've managed to wake up 7. We've got quite a few billion to go. But just about Kamala and her whole Indian heritage and being this whole feminist icon. I mean, how there's rumors of her Michelle, that she potentially could be transgendered. You've heard of that, right? Yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah. There's so much about that circulating. But just a final thought on this executive order before you go, because I have so many questions in my head. This is going to be the means to zap everyone worldwide as well.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And
it's brilliant because it's the foreign interference from any institution, organization, or individual that's been involved in the propaganda arm of this as well. So this is literally, like the saying goes, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I mean,
I think it was a sting. I think it was a sting operation because, like I said, the new head of the DOJ gave the report that led Trump to write the executive order. He had done the report on the cheating that went on in 2016 and 2018 with the help of Judicial Watch, who's been great. And they're coming in and they're ready to go. They know what happened. So I think that was a sting because now we find out. Yesterday I started my own show, and yesterday I did a thing on now they can trace our election being interfered by Venezuela, Cuba, Spain, Iran, China, obviously, and Canada. So I mean, how many? And then link all the people in America. And
look at the sanctions in Iran as well.
Right. And
why were the sanctions imposed?
Oh, sorry. Just one last thing about that was the Black Lives Matter stuff. How we talked about, that they're hurting Black people. They're using them and then hurting them because a lot of people that were in these districts where there was tremendous cheating. I don't know if you know, but LeBron James and who I think is real bad news, and Obama, they put together one of those community organization things for the voting. And LeBron James got these basketball stadiums, arenas, which is what happened in Detroit and in Atlanta, to have the voting there. And then they trained an army, they said, of 30,000 people. Well, that was outreach to the Black community, whatever. Well, these people are going to get, the fraud is 10 years in jail. So at this point, I'm sure they've gone around and arrested a lot of those people that Obama and them trained with Facebook money to help them cheat. And now those people are going to be, you know, going to pay with their lives, you know?
Yeah. And you know, today, in a final thought about Obama, I walked past a bookshop, and it's crazy how he just makes the whole window is covered with his book, the launch of his book. I mean, look at what they're doing, subliminally programming us to just believe he's this iconic hero. Honestly, Obama hurt my feelings. You know, I thought
I will someday. I'll do a show with you about the Iran deal.
We should do this weekly.
You know, I got to tell you, like, the levels of corruption and, in my mind, pure evil he's involved in, including with the kids. It's going to come out, and it's going to be.
I hope so, and I hope it comes out very soon, because that's going to shock the world. Because everyone loved Obama, including myself, before I knew about any of this. I just thought he had a great way about him, and the level of deception, Mel. Whoa, that hurt. That really hurt. That one did, because I was so happy to see a Black president. You know,
yeah, but we were so blinded to the fact that, you know, Obama's past is very shady, and you know, his all CIA, and then that cult in Indonesia, and the mom, like
Al-Walid, his links to him.
But also, I mean, he everything about him is a deception, and you know, it's going to be a big wake up call. I was hoping, you know, they said the first arrest will shock the world, and everyone guesses who it is. I was hoping it's going to be Obama, but I think it's going to be maybe bigger than that.
Who?
Imagine who that could be.
Who could it be? Oh, Mel, I've loved today. So let's do, I know this is going to be a huge.
I know. I wish we could sit down and go have lunch soon.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm going to come in New York and see you. So
great. When we're free.
I'd love to do like a live as well, because
totally
loads of questions. So until next time, and it's going to be very soon. I know that you do weekly with Charlie. You're going to do a weekly with this girl here from England.
Great. So let's set it up, and we'll set it up. We'll figure out a time, and we'll do it weekly, because you know what? There's not that many women in the movement.
No, that's why I love this connection. And even Charlie said that you guys are going to really gel.
Right.
And I love it.
And so I just want you to know that I did start my own channel.
Yes.
It's the Mel K Show. Thank you to Charlie for helping me figure out how to do it.
Oh, bless you. It's like me. We're both the same. It took me so long to do my first channel.
Oh my God.
I did about 3 by mistake.
I know. And I'm a Impulsive Woman on Twitter, if anyone wants to follow me.
Impulsive Women. So, and it's just amazing, Mel. I've really enjoyed it. And the next one will be next week, hopefully.
Yes. It's great energy, and the women are less likely to do this. But
there's not many.
I've met a lot of superheroes out there like you, and we got to keep
bless
power.
You're my hero.
You're my hero.
Lots of love. Until next week, sweetie.
Charlie was right. He knew I'd love you. Have a great day, and I will see you next week, and we will break it all down.
We're going to rip it apart. Next week, we're going to dig deeper dive even more.
Okay, great. Oh, loved it. Have fun. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon. God wins. God
wins. Okay, I've stopped recording that. Oh, that was brilliant.
Yeah, it was. Awesome.